Good morning. It's July 13th, and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. Former football players aged 30 to 60 show structural brain differences and higher rates of anxiety and depression, but no cognitive decline, compared with non-contact sport controls in a study examining repetitive head impacts and dementia risk. Magnetic resonance imaging reveals reduced gray matter volume in regions tied to memory, attention, decision-making, and emotion regulation among former players. Researchers describe this as the first and largest study of midlife retired football players to explore potential early brain changes before clinical symptoms appear. The study aims to expand datasets and add biomarkers, including diffusion imaging and blood-based markers, and to pursue longitudinal follow-up to clarify long-term brain health effects. Plans include incorporating diffusion imaging, expanding the dataset, and following participants over time to better understand long-term risks. The Alzheimer's Association emphasizes brain health guidance and injury risk reduction, including the 10 healthy habits for your brain and support from the Brain Health Advancement Institute. Public health messaging highlights protective practices, such as wearing helmets and seatbelts, to reduce head injury risk. The article notes growing interest in head impact research beyond American football and the need for more longitudinal data across sports. Context includes parallels to tackle football research, with an emphasis on reducing head impact exposure across sports. Evidence links head injuries and repetitive heading to neurodegeneration and diseases like chronic traumatic encephalopathy diagnosed post-mortem. Key researchers include Kaylee Grace Lynch and Thomas D. Parker of Imperial College London, who lead the study. The study is preliminary and not yet peer-reviewed. Researchers plan larger samples and 2-year follow-ups to assess trajectory toward dementia or other long-term outcomes. A sweeping effort is underway in northern China where ecological restoration meets local livelihoods in the Green Great Wall. The project shows that environmental gains need to go hand in hand with economic benefits to avoid a false trade-off between development and conservation. Climate variability and rainfall have aided vegetation recovery in some areas, while frontline workers, scientists, and local communities illustrate the social and economic dimensions of the effort. Yin Yuzhen, a 60-year-old sand control worker, recalls early loneliness but now works with family and volunteers to maintain checkerboard controls in trees, highlighting how livelihoods are tied to the project. China's approach uses straw checkerboards and irrigation to stabilize dunes and expand vegetation, delivering measurable ecological gains but requiring sustained effort. The initiative has mobilized hundreds of millions of rural workers backed by top-down planning and substantial state investment. Since 2000, desertified land has shrunk notably, with forest cover in the program area rising from about 5% in 1978 to 14% in 2022. Experts say reversing desertification requires embedding conservation within long-term development plans and local economic support, not relying on large-scale tree planting alone. The program is framed in a global context, paralleling Africa's 2007 tree planting initiatives, underscoring the need for continuous community-driven strategies to sustain gains over decades. Looking ahead, the program's continuation depends on ongoing funding, institutional backing, and engaging the younger generation to sustain land stewardship. The overarching goal is to halt desertification and foster self-sustaining ecosystems and communities through ongoing monitoring and adaptive management, with officials stressing that scale and political commitment are critical. A new AAIC 2026 presentation shows that a subcutaneous autoinjector for LEQEMBI delivers efficacy and safety comparable to IV initiation in early Alzheimer's disease, hinting at a possible at-home initiation path if the FDA approves. The data suggest SC initiation may match IV in both efficacy and safety, with the potential for at-home treatment once regulatory clearance is granted. LEQEMBI from EISAI and BIOGEN now has AAIC 2026 findings supporting a SC formulation that aligns with IV initiation outcomes. The release includes standard industry context on protofibrils, collaboration history, and forward-looking statements. Early and ongoing SC initiation and maintenance could improve long-term disease management, flexibility, and accessibility for patients and caregivers. Real-world data from 2 U.S. centers show SC administration associated with slower cognitive decline over 36 months in one cohort, and stable or improved MMSE in another, with high satisfaction and willingness to recommend. Clinically, SC use demonstrated slower decline versus natural history and strong satisfaction from patients and caregivers, with convenience consistently high. Treatment pathways emphasize flexibility, including switching between IV and SC and dose adjustments if a dose is missed, from next day to day 6. A 500 mg weekly SCAI dose achieved bioequivalence to the IV initiation regimen, with stable exposure across weight groups supporting a fixed-dose approach. SCAY initiation showed consistent pharmacokinetics, amyloid clearance, and clinical outcomes across weight quartiles, reinforcing the fixed-dose strategy. EISAI leads lecanemab development with Biogen, and SC maintenance work under the IQLIK program is ongoing in the U.S. and other regions as part of a broader development program. The data point to feasible at-home initiation and maintenance if the FDA approves SC initiation, potentially expanding access across care settings. A single IV dose of a gut bacterium, Euangella americana, shown to come from the Japanese tree frog, produced a complete response against colorectal tumors in mice, raising questions about future cancer therapies. Researchers isolated 9 anti-tumor strains from 45 bacteria living in small vertebrates, and E. americana stood out for its tumor-eradicating performance. In mouse models, it outperformed standard treatments like anti-PD-L1 therapy and liposomal doxorubicin in achieving complete tumor elimination. The study notes the bacterium acts in 2 ways. It directly colonizes and damages cancer cells in the tumor's hypoxic environment, and it activates the immune system by drawing in T cells, B cells, and neutrophils to the tumor site. After administration, the bacteria rapidly clear from the bloodstream, with a half-life around 1.2 hours, and show no colonization of healthy organs. Safety findings include only transient inflammation that resolves within 72 hours and no chronic toxicity observed over 60 days. E. americana exhibited tumor-specific accumulation, likely aided by the tumor's hypoxia, leaky vasculature, and cancer cells' CD47-mediated immune evasion. The researchers stressed that the approach is currently limited to mice and outlined plans to test against other solid tumors like breast and pancreatic cancer, and to explore dose optimization and combinations with chemotherapy or immunotherapy. The study highlights biodiversity in vertebrate gut microbiomes as a potential reservoir for cancer therapies and presents a proof of concept for using living bacteria as targeted anti-cancer agents. Published in Gut Microbes, the work focused on direct intravenous administration of individual bacterial strains to attack tumors rather than indirect microbiome effects. A new breast cancer framework maps the cancer immunity cycle across 6 steps and divides tumors into 3 CIC subtypes. C1 is immune cold, C2 shows antigen presentation defects, and C3 is immune hot, with C3 yielding the best response to immune checkpoint inhibitors. The CIC score measures activity through the 6 steps and reveals distinct immune evasion mechanisms across these clusters. Researchers classified 3 breast cancer subtypes by CIC. C1 has low immune signals, C2 shows antigen presentation defects, and C3 has high immune activity. Funding for the study came from China's National Key Research and Development Program and the National Natural Science Foundation of China. Multi-omics data link each CIC cluster to metabolic dependencies. C1 enriches sphingolipid metabolism, C2 relies on serine metabolism, and PSAT1 is a key regulator in C2, where knocking it down lowers PD-L1 and TGF-B1 expression. The CIC framework moves beyond a binary hot-cold view to predict who benefits from immune checkpoint inhibitors and to guide tailored combination therapies for each cycle defect. C1 tumors show low immune infiltration with immunosuppressive M2 macrophages. C3 tumors have robust immune activity and the best ICI responses, while C2 tumors have high mutational burden but HLA loss and an immunosuppressive environment that impairs antigen presentation. The study appears in Cancer Biology and Medicine in 2026, conducted by researchers at Fudan University Shanghai Cancer Center and Shanghai Medical College. Clinically, The CIC score could stratify patients for ICI therapy and guide cluster-specific treatments, such as converting C1 from immune cold to immune hot, or targeting PSAT1 and HLA pathways in C2 to enhance antigen presentation and immune activation. Overall, this framework classifies breast cancer by the cancer immunity cycle to predict immunotherapy responses and identify targets for combination therapies. This has been your daily brief in science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with everything you need to know.